Well, happy Friday and welcome back to The Average Fisherman, everybody. Vesper Martini here. Got some good news today. So, I had to shave my beard off yesterday because I got the official all clear on the whole skin cancer chapter, so I can close that up. But in order to do so, I had to completely shave my face so that way they could check everything out and everything, and I couldn't have a beard, obviously. So, it just looks weird to me. It feels weird to not have a beard. I'm looking forward to going it back again already. So, come on next week, when I can, when I can have my beard back. But anyway, moving on. The topic of conversation today is going to be the types of bobber stops and when I use each one. So there's been a lot of debate about this. I've gotten questions emailed to me in the past. I've seen a lot of debate about it online forums and stuff like that. And I'll explain to you guys the reasons why I choose one over the other under certain circumstances. So the predominant two types that there are the little rubber bobber stops that everybody knows. And you can see the little loops of wire there. What you do is you thread your main line through that little hoop and then pull it around and hold it and then pull the bobber stop off onto your line, okay? And it grips it that way. They have a really small diameter hole in the middle and they're made out of rubber so they can press on your line. The second type, and the one that most people would be familiar with, are the Uniknot types. So they come on this little plastic black straw thing that's hollow in the middle, see there? And what you do is you run your line through that little black plastic thing, pull off the knot, and then cinch it down and then clip off the tag ends, okay? So, they both have pluses and minuses, and that's how I choose which one I'm going to use when, okay? They both have their issues, and they both have their benefits, so I'm going to go over them real quick. Here's a bluegill rig that I have set up. Now you'll notice on this bluegill rig setup, I have one of the little black rubber ones, okay? And that is because when I'm bluegill fishing, I am hardly ever going to fish any deeper than about 3 feet. 3 feet at the most, okay? When I'm trying to catch panfish and stuff like that. And these little rubber bobber stops are perfect for that. They're easy to get on, they slide pretty easily and stuff like that, so they can adjust depths and everything really pretty quickly. Whereas these cloth Uniknot types, if you cinch them down really hard especially on braid, they can be kind of difficult to move sometimes. But the benefit of those, and I use the cloth Uniknot types when I'm fishing 3 feet or deeper, because in those cases, especially fishing for things like sac-a-lait or crappie, you can fish 8, 9, 10 feet deep. And that line, as you throw it out and you have to adjust that bobber stop to get to about 8 feet, can get wound around your reel. And the cloth ones cause a little fewer issues when you're casting as far as getting that line out there and getting it spooling off the reel, because those little rubber bobber stops don't do that. They actually will catch on some line as it comes off your reel and stuff, and it can cause issues, whereas the cloth ones tend not to do that. Now, the cloth ones can get loosened up over time once they get wet and if you make a lot of adjustments and stuff like that. But on 4-strand light braids, like 6 or 8 pound braid, I really haven't had that much issue, because once you cinch them down on there, they're pretty on there, and the texture of that 4-strand braid makes it really hard for them to slip through. Plus, the diameter of them, the outside diameter, once you cinch them down really hard, is actually smaller than these little rubber black bobber stops. So that causes less issues coming through the guides. So basically, I use these black rubber bobber stoppers when I'm not going to be pulling the line back past that first eyelet on my spinning reels. And most of the time when I bluegill, you guys have seen it, I'm fishing in a foot or a foot and a half or something like that, up to about 2 feet deep. And that line never really gets sucked down into my reel, right? Whereas on crappie fishing or something like that, that's a common tactic where you will fish 6, 7, 8 feet deep. And if I'm using a 5.5 foot rod, well, that means that line with the bobber stop is going to get wrapped around my reel. And the cloth tends to work a little bit better as far as preventing issues with casting and accuracy and stuff like that when I'm using a bobber stop. So let me show you that. Here's one of my crappie rigs, and it's already rigged up. And you can see I have it set with a tiny little jig head here to fish with gulp minnows, slip bobber with a weight, and there's my little cloth bobber stop. And you can see how tiny it is once it gets fitted down on the line there. the camera's kind of magnifying it a little bit. Trust me, guys, it's actually much smaller than it looks. But that's what it looks like. And you can set that longer or deeper to fish deeper than your rod is long, and you don't really have to worry about that line getting spooled up onto your reel because it's made out of a cloth. It's not going to cause any kind of real line hangups when you go to cast out and the line starts peeling off your reel. Whereas the cloth one, the rubber ones will. Anyway, since the cat's going to start making a bunch of noise now, and that's about all I had to say. I hope you guys have a good weekend. The weather here is supposed to be hot. It rained the last 2 days in a row, or else I would have gone out again yesterday to fish. So look forward to the beard going back next week. Got some good news, skin cancer free now. So, I'll drink to that, and I hope you guys have a good weekend. Tight lines, my friends.